Yo people, it's your boy Gilly here, and yes, I know I haven't posted in a while and I'm so sorry for that, but we're back and I promise you we're here with such a good video and such a nice idea to be doing. You know, a lot of the time I might even be torturing myself with some of the stuff I'm watching or some of the videos I'm making, but this time I'm genuinely enjoying it so much, or at least right now I am. Maybe later I won't be, but welcome to Movie Monday. Now, if you've seen the title, then you know I am watching the top 250 IMDb rated movies, but we are taking it very slow. We're gonna do 5 a time, so we're gonna do 5 every Monday, hence why it's called Movie Monday. And the way this works is we're gonna spin a wheel from numbers 1 to 250. The numbers that correlate to the movie in the IMDb top 250 are the movies that we watch. Sorry, and you know, I think it's a great sort of experience. You know what? I won't pester you any longer. Let's get straight into it. So the numbers that I span for the first sort of video of this, I span 221, 106, 59, 53, and 10. Now, and the way this is going to work is we're going to go from the lowest number all the way to the highest number. So for example, in the list of numbers that we've got here, we'll start with 221, then we'll end at the movie rated number 10. Without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So now with number 221, we actually have Haine. Now, this is a movie that I've had on my watch list for so long, and I just never got to seeing it, which is crazy because I've had so much time, especially recently, to watch whatever movies, but I just didn't take the time to watch it. So when I rolled 221 and I looked on the list and I saw Haine there, I thought, this is a blessing. It's a blessing. It was so good. You know, I got into it straight away and I thought, okay, like, the way it's shot, first of all, is just brilliant. It's so good. And you know, you think of it, you're like, oh, this isn't the highest sort of production. This isn't a movie that has however much budget. This is something anyone could make. Anyone could go into their, you know, wherever they live, get a couple of friends and make something like this. But when you see them shots, you know, the mirror shot, the swiveling shot where he's looking for the pack of cigarettes in the bedroom, all of these shots are so sort of advanced. So advanced. They're done so well. And the movie aesthetically is honestly brilliant. The main characters, you know, are insane. One part of it especially that I really loved was the old man's story in the bathroom, because I think you can apply it to each of the main characters, you know, Saeed, Vince, and Hubert as well. It's so good, and without saying too much, so I don't want to, you know, essentially say the whole plot, but you know, there is this sort of revolution going on in this movie, and in a lot of ways it reminds me of Battle of Algiers, but you know, I just think it's a lot more modern and just so much more sort of like we can apply what we see in the movie to stuff happening in the real world. And these group of friends, another one of their friends has just been hospitalized from a police member or a police officer, and they're sort of struggling with that, they're dealing with that. And one of them, Vince, he's more especially going down a violent route into how do you retaliate against the fact that, you know, the police have just hospitalized one of their friends. The amount of times I was sitting there thinking, wow, like I can't believe it. When I think of that movie, I think so much of that old man story. I know I've already touched on it, but going back on it, when you listen to it, I think it mostly, like, specifically applies to Hubert as well, because you think, oh, Hubert is this guy who, he wants to leave. He clearly has dreams and aspirations. You know, you get introduced to him in the bedroom and you see a picture of Muhammad Ali. You see the Black Power protest at the Olympics. You know, it's this really like touchy, inspiring sort of introduction to the character, but he's kind of just stuck there, and it's like he's stuck in this violent environment, terrible upbringing, this poor upbringing. He's trying to leave and he's trying to get away, but there's something that's stopping him or weighing him down. The ending was so unexpected. Oh my god, the ending was like, my jaw was dropped on the floor for for a while. I'm thinking about the rating, especially after the movie. I'm pondering, and like I go to sleep thinking about it, and I'm thinking, is that a perfect 5 out of 5 for our first movie in this whole series? Is that a perfect 5? I don't think I can put it at 5 yet. And you know, maybe that further down the line I'll rewatch it and then put it at 5. But I think I'm going to put it at 4.5 out of 5, which is the absolute minimum. You know, part of me wants to put it at 5 out of 5, but I think 4 out of 5 is the sweet spot for now. Maybe when I rewatch it, I'll rethink that. But Haine was amazing. So good, and I would 100% recommend. Let's get on to the next one. You know, before we go any further, I just want to say that all of these movie reviews, plus other movies that I'm doing for maybe other videos, they will be on my letterbox. I'll have it up on the screen right now. You can see it, so go on over there, follow me, and you know, you can see these ratings before I actually even post it on the YouTube. So the next one I have on the list, number 106. Now, this is actually North by Northwest, and what I've seen a lot of people call it is the original James Bond movie. Now, this movie was great. You know, I think Cary Grant was unbelievable in this movie. You know, I think he sort of has that, you know, not to get too much into brain rot terms, but he's got that aura about him. And you know, him and even Marie Saint, they've got that really flirtatious, like their chemistry on screen was just on point, you know. But I have a really like big concern, and people might get onto me for this, but that ending just happened way too quickly. Like 1 minute you're there at the ending, and the next it's just done, like gone, like it's just completely done. You're somewhere else, and it's just like, oh yeah, happily ever after, done. And I get maybe that sort of falls onto the more older movie, you know, like your good old, oh, happily ever after. And you know, that might suit some of the people watching this movie. Maybe that's the best thing for you, but for me, like that was my number one, and to be honest, my only concern about this movie. Like I said, the vibes in this movie were so good. The stuff they're wearing, you know, even the way some of the stuff is shot, you know, the scenes when you're in sort of that Mount Rushmore on top of the mountain, it's like, wow, like this is truly an original. It was such an authentic experience, and for that I'm really glad I watched it. And it was such a great movie, but then again, I just can't get past that one concern. But I'm not gonna take away from anything else in the movie. It's just that one thing. And because of that, I think I'm actually going to give North by Northwest a 4 out of 5. You know, like I said, I think that whole ending just deducts it down a point. 4 stars out of 5, I think it's still such a great score. And you know, stuff like the plane scene especially was, oh my god, that was so insane. Like, I knew that scene was coming. I haven't watched the full thing. I've only watched, you know, that one little bit where you can see him actually running from the plane. But that full scene, like, it's just a demonstration of what tension can actually give to you in a movie, and it executed that perfectly, and I think it did the whole movie, right? And it's such a fitting movie because this is such a dad movie, you know, like, I can imagine there are many fathers out there that think, oh yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favourite movie, and it was just such a good experience, especially watching that with my dad. But yeah, you know, getting into the actual movie, Harrison Ford, I don't think you could have picked a better Indiana Jones. Like, he just fits it perfectly, aesthetically, you know, even stuff like body language and, you know, like, facial expressions, everything. Like, he executes it so well. The vibes in the movie were unbelievable. You know, you have amazing scenes like when Indy's fighting that one guy with a sword, and you think, oh yeah, it's going to be insane hand-to-hand combat, and then you just see him pull out the pistol and shoot him, and it's like, you know, this is stuff that, as people watching, we would think, yeah, that's the more obvious thing, but you know, movies, they often exaggerate that, go into a 3-minute long fight scene, but it's so effective, and I think that's how you describe it, the shots and the action, the choreography is so effective. It's great in every way, you know. I think the character of Marion was insane. And I think there's a special, you know, mention to the character of Sallah. Like, he was for sure my favourite character. Like, 100%. it's just so refreshing to have on screen. You know, when you have a personality like that in the movie, it just, every scene that he's in, it's funny, it's entertaining, it's effective. Like, I absolutely loved it, and I don't think you could have, or I don't think there was a better character than Sulla in that movie. I just thought it was great, you know. A little, it's not a concern, but a little sort of something I wanted to touch up on was actually like the villain. And yeah, like, the villain's good. The villain's good, don't get me wrong, but I think you wanted to see something a bit more traditional of like a Indiana Jones stops the villain. Not like the villain dies from natural causes. If you watch the movie, you kind of know what I mean. I mean, kind of more supernatural causes, but yeah, that was sort of my only little, again, not a concern, just something I'm touching up on. It's just another masterpiece, isn't it? It's a classic, another insane movie to watch with family, and for that reason, I have to give it another 4.5 out of 5. Okay, now moving on to our last two. For the first ever edition of Movie Monday, we actually have two westerns. Now, I absolutely love westerns, more specifically spaghetti westerns. So it's very fitting that the last two movies we have here are two spaghetti westerns, and both directed by Sergio Leone. Now, we're gonna start obviously with the one lower on the list. Number 53, we have Once Upon a Time in the West. This movie was just an unreal experience. Both these movies we're about to touch up on are both about 3 hours long, roughly, but they do such a good job of making that seem so much shorter. You're just in there for every single scene. Every single scene means something. It's like there's no scene that's a filler. And again, that's so refreshing due to some like modern day movies and modern day cinema as a whole. My main highlight, and I actually have two different points. Yes, I'm gonna say first, I'm not taking away from Harmonica. Harmonica was an unreal protagonist, so good. But especially Cheyenne and Frank, right? Especially Frank. Frank is one of those villains that you always remember. He is one of the villains of all time. Especially the fact that it's played by Henry Fonda, you know. None of you know, one of my favourite movies is 12 Angry Men, and Henry Fonda is the guy that sort of convinces everyone else, like, he's the protagonist. So when I see Henry Fonda, I think of the protagonist, he's a very good guy. Yeah, when they pan up to show Frank to be Henry Fonda, who is the villain, and he's one of the best villains I have seen in cinema, unreal, absolutely unreal. And you know, I was down deep in the rabbit hole, so I was searching up. I was like, oh, why is Henry Fonda the villain? And Sergio Leone, he actually said that that's what he wanted it to be like. He wanted it to be surprised. He wanted it to be like, oh, you think Henry Fonda's gonna be a good guy? No, he's actually the bad guy. And it's just, it was brilliant in every single way. It was so perfect. You know, the scenes where like Harmonica is with Frank, and you get that reveal that he killed his brother, and then that's how he got the harmonica, because he put it in his mouth as he was falling. And that is just like, it's just brilliant writing, isn't it? Because you don't know about that the whole time, and you only get told that right at the end. And you think that, you're only going to tell us that right at the end, so we're only going to know the motive right at the end. But you're like, everything that's been happening, we know why Harmonica has acted like this. We know why he's been doing this now. And it's just brilliant writing. Is perfect, and I absolutely love it. And if I hadn't watched the movie I'm about to talk about next first, I would have given this a perfect 5 out of 5. And like I said with Haine, when I rewatch it, there is a chance I will view it as a 5 out of 5. But for now, again, I am going to put it as a 4.5 out of 5. It's just so good, isn't it? Like Cheyenne as well. Cheyenne is, again, like Sulla in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's such a refreshing character to have on screen. He's so funny, and yet he can bring that serious sort of tone, and honestly amazing. Another masterpiece. And that's the thing about this video, isn't it? We're going to see so many masterpieces. Like, I'm so excited to watch and rewatch so many of these movies. And yeah, without further ado, let's get on to the last video of the first edition of Movie Monday. Okay, now the last movie of this video, number 10, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Now, I know you lot saw it coming when I started talking about Sergio Leone and the westerns, the spaghetti westerns. This movie right here, easily one of the best movies I have ever watched. Easily, no doubt in my mind. And I'm gonna say the rating before I even speak about the movies. I've given The Good, the Bad and the Ugly a perfect 5 stars out of 5, and you know, there isn't a single thing that could make me change my mind about that. Clint Eastwood's acting and just overall performance as a protagonist is just, how do you beat that? Like, there is no one that I believe would do a better job than Clint Eastwood did in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. And another one, Tuco's character, oh my lord, it is just like how I spoke about Cheyenne and flipping Salah. He is just, he's a level ahead. Tuco is one of the most entertaining characters I've ever seen in any movie, and he honestly elevated this movie maybe even more than just a level, maybe 2 levels ahead. Without him, you wouldn't have any of it, and it's so good. Like, if you haven't watched it, you just need to, right? Like, you genuinely just need to. Like, I'm still kind of just speechless thinking about it now. It was just so good, you know. That last sort of showdown where it's the 3 of them, and like, it's just insane, isn't it? Again, yeah, like, I'm speechless. Like, I don't even know what to say about it, but it's one of those things where you'll never ever forget the way it made you feel watching it. You know, that score, and that's one of the things I also forgot to talk about in a lot of the other movies as well. But let's talk about The Good, Bad and the Ugly and Once Upon a Time in the West. Their scores are amazing, so good, and especially The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. You have this iconic music. You know, you hear about it, you hear it still to this day. You know, it's unbelievable. And it's, I mean, you know, if you have me on Letterboxd, which you should do, like I said, add me, you'll know I have put it into my top 4. It deserves it. You know, it's just so amazing. Like I said, it just says it in the title. The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. You know, the fact that Tuco is described as sort of the ugly because, you know, morally he's a horrible person, but he's still not quite as bad as the bad. You know, he's pure evil, and you can tell it by the aesthetic. Even the mustache just gives vibes of ugly, and like I said, aesthetically it's on point. So good. And even though Clint Eastwood might not have the highest morals, you know, him saving Tuco to get, you know, money sort of in this fraudulent way, he still doesn't put people's lives in danger. It's honestly just brilliant. It's a masterpiece in every way, you know, directorial, acting, writing, production. You can't get any better, and I solely believe this is the best Western of all time, let alone one of the best movies of all time. And yeah, for that reason, perfect 5 out of 5, straight into the top 4 on Letterboxd. And that concludes the first Movie Monday, the first edition of this whole series. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments if you have any, and yeah, I hope you have a good day, and see ya.